You know you're dancing with the devil.
I'm gonna destroy you.
Have to try harder than that if you want to beat me. Ooh, twisting it. I think probably Rupert respects Tony's sense of drive and determination. They're quite similar in that respect.
I think Tony respects Rupert's ease. It also infuriates him. Tony is not naturally at ease, and it frustrates and tantalizes him to see someone who appears to float through life, because everything's a bit of a struggle for Tony. He can't quite give in to anything, and Rupert's largesse, Rupert's comfortableness within himself is something that Tony both respects and envies and admires and hates. Oh, I think, well, he's definitely got some daddy issues, and that's giving him a lot of drive. He's definitely got some issues about his place in society, and that keys into a whole sort of British history of class and a sense of not getting above your station and being defined by birth. All that sort of stuff is something that Tony really struggles with, and that it helps him nurse his wrath late at night. So I guess he needs to succeed, because without that he is nothing.
Yes, definitely. Yes, it's extremely important to him. His sense of feeling like a winner, I think, and feeling potent is extremely important to him. I think he's a very lonely person. I think the idea that his Olympic career is over, and that, you know, that his life as a politician might be under threat is extremely difficult for him. If he's not winning, he doesn't know what he is. So he takes larger and larger risks and gambles, often with other people's money and feelings, to attempt to stay at the top. Yeah, it's a pretty difficult, high-class, high-wire act.
I think it makes him feel powerful. It makes him feel important. That he can have everything and everyone. That everything and everyone will sort of bend to his will. And I think he's chasing happiness. He's chasing a sense of achievement. He's chasing something that he will never find. I mean, he's never going to be happy. There's no amount of power. There's no amount of female company. There's no amount of conquest that will actually sate him. But that's what he's constantly chasing, because he's chasing his father's approval ultimately, and that's something he's never going to be able to successfully feel like he's achieved.
I think that's part of it, yeah, but I also think it's that Taggy, after she gets to know him a bit more, believes that deep down he's a better person than he thinks he is, I think. I think that she looks at him and he wants to prove her a sort of interest in him right by being the best version of himself that he can be. He fails multiple times, but I think ultimately that's part of why she's so important in his mind, in that she has some sort of purity and goodness which he desperately doesn't want to corrupt, and fears that he will corrupt, so wants to do his best to bring himself up to her level, her moral standards, rather than drag her down to his. And I feel, you know, he fears getting lost in that sort of dark, less healthy place, and sees her as a ray of hope, I think.
Yeah, but I mean, objectively, Tony does some pretty awful things, but I think it all sort of makes sense. I mean, Tony's very motivated from one moment to the next by his need to succeed, and he makes every decision quite carefully and with purpose. So I don't think Tony would see himself as villainous or he's only out to succeed, and that is what he needs to do because that is what he is there for. And if that requires ruthlessness sometimes, then that's just how he's got to roll. So I think he's not sort of psychopathic in that way. He's not malevolent. He's just very, very driven, and nothing is more important than winning for him.
I don't know that. I don't think he's a very reflective person. So I think potentially that it's not like him to sort of sit and ruminate too much on his feelings. But I think he would be surprised by what he feels driven to do and how he feels driven to act as the story progresses, yeah, and what his allegiances are. But then he also has massive blind spots. I think he sort of can be feeling those things about Taggy, for example, and about a sort of idea of trying to elevate his sense of morals, whilst at the same time having sex with someone else and engaging in going behind people's back or sort of gambling other people's money away, that kind of thing. So it's a sort of one step back, forward, two steps back type situation for Rupert, which I think is what makes him such an intriguing character. You think he's getting somewhere, and then you're like, why on earth is he doing that? How can those two things exist in the same at the same time for this character? And that was a wonderfully fascinating thing to play as an actor, to read the script and be like, but I'm boasting about one sexual conquest in front of another woman that I'm apparently having some feelings for. Like, it's a very strange behaviour from my point of view, and was really fascinating to try and get my head around.
Well, we don't want to give away spoilers, you understand, but I'm definitely in a worse place.
Yeah, you're definitely in a worse place. I've sort of painted myself into a corner of sorts, but I think potentially on the road to being a better person, yeah.
It does go backwards and forwards. I think I feel like I'm losing certainly more than I want to be losing. I enjoy my victories, but I feel like they're being swamped by my losses.
Yeah, I think Rupert is really surprised at how his kind of, I'm just going to do this and that will work out, how things start to not work out as easily as they have in the past. I think he's confused and actually starts to question his own sense of trust in his own judgment because things keep backfiring on him.
We didn't get to do that much of that, really. Yeah. A lot of the time we're in separate teams, so we didn't get to play that many scenes together, but it was always fun when we did.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it? It's always fun to work with someone obviously as incredibly intelligent and skilled as David, and with such brilliant scripts and characters, and the work that you've done on the characters, and it's always good to sort of try and get under each other's skin.
And maybe because the characters have been kept apart so much and talking about each other in the abstract so much that means that the several moments when they do come together count all the more, which is something to look forward to.
Yeah. I think they're both really driven, actually, by the rivalry, aren't they? To a degree. We both really want to outdo the other and not let the other win. I think that is a hugely important part of the storyline in these arcs.
I mean, Tony doesn't feel like he wants it. Tony hates it. It is a rancor for him, and yet it does also prove to be a huge engine for him. So I suppose maybe he wouldn't be winning as often as he is without the grist in the oyster. We really are getting into spoiler territory now, you see, as to where we go towards the end of the show. But I suppose it would be anyone he felt had betrayed him. I think he demands loyalty, and one of the things that he has the least forgiveness for is someone who has betrayed him. So yeah, don't cross him unless you're sure you'll never get found out.